ChatGPT has finally released its own version of a search engine called ChatGPT, a direct competitor to Google Search and Perplexity AI. It pulls relevant links, provides accurate, up-to-date information in real time, and also provides resources on where it got this information from. Now, the big question is it a worthy competitor to Google Search or Perplexity? And in this video today, we are going to go through exactly that. We're going to go through what ChatGPT is, how it works, side-by-side comparison with Perplexity using the same prompts, and I'll also give my personal opinion on how it compares to search, traditional Google search. But before we get into all of that, a little bit about me. Hi, my name is Misha and I'm a certified AI expert, consultant and developer. I've been in the AI/software development space for the last 6 years. So I've traveled from Silicon Valley to Singapore, attending various AI conferences, consulting with different people, so I can bring you guys the most up-to-date and accurate information on what's happening in the AI space. I have helped out multiple businesses with their AI strategy through transformations, consultations, and custom solution integrations. And the main goal with this channel is to essentially bridge the knowledge gap between AI being just another buzzword and an effective tool that you can use in your day-to-day life to save you some time, save you some money, and all of that nice and good stuff, so you don't essentially get left behind. Right now, there's so many different big companies producing their own AI tools, and sometimes it can get overwhelming with information overload on what's happening in the AI space. And my goal with this channel is essentially to kind of ease that burden a little bit. This video today is a sequel to my previous video, which is linked here, which kind of talks about Perplexity, how it works as well, and some of the features that it has. So if you do see this video, ensure to check out my last one. It goes into what Perplexity is and how it works in more detail, and also some other bits about Google search in that video as well. So yeah, make sure to check that one out. Now let's get right into it. This is not the first time OpenAI has introduced web search, web access, but this new ChatGPT search that I will show you in this video today is a brand new way to search within ChatGPT. Right now, they're positioning themselves to be a direct competitor to Google Search and Perplexity, as I mentioned previously on, but you can get fast, timely answers within the chat interface, which is quite the most well-known and the one that we use the most. So it's relatively easy to use, and they might have the benefit of familiarity because you already have been using ChatGPT a lot. I think most people that are familiar with the space have used ChatGPT a lot as well. So it blends the benefits of, again, the natural language stuff that ChatGPT excels in, the creativity behind it, and also gives you like real, accurate, up-to-date answers on information like news, stocks, sports, whatever the case is. So let's jump right into it over here. So let's now just jump in quickly into comparing Perplexity and ChatGPT. We have them side by side here now, as you can see on the screen, and we will essentially just ask it a few similar questions, see how it works, and compare the two. Now, but before we just jump into prompting both of them side by side, I want to quickly mention the pricing standpoint between the two and some of the features that they have. So right now, if I'm not mistaken, since ChatGPT is only available to people that hold a pro account with ChatGPT, I know it will be released for the general community and like the free version as it progresses, but right now I think it's only available for the pro version accounts. On top of that, Perplexity has certain features that the ChatGPT doesn't have at the moment. So it has its pro feature, which I discuss again in a bit more detail in my other video that you can see here, and it also has its focus feature, you know, as we mentioned here. And on top of that, as you can see as well, it can change, you can change the model in which Perplexity does its searching in. So I think, if I'm not mistaken, it has, so I don't have the pro version of this now, but if you do have the pro version, you can also change what model you are searching in. So funny enough, Perplexity actually uses ChatGPT in its search, so it's kind of interesting in how it will operate between the two, but it's really interesting because you can then mess around with the Claude 4.0 and so on, which is also quite interesting when you are comparing the two. But in this video, we're kind of going to go through how the search capabilities work between the both of them, you know. So now let's compare the two of them. It has Perplexity has this pro search. I think again you're only limited to 5 with the free version, and it has the focus search, which you can narrow it down to what specific sources you want, which ChatGPT as of right now does not have. So off the rip, you can see that Perplexity already offers a bit more accuracy and robustness when it comes to actually searching. But again, that makes sense because Perplexity was built with search or research in mind, whereas ChatGPT is just, or OpenAI is trying to compete with traditional Google searches and Perplexity. So let's test it out with a few prompts. So we can say something about, tell me about machine learning, and you could do here as well, but we'll also change it to maybe academic. Okay, so as you can see, Pro is searching, the Pro search is working for Perplexity. It's searching what's general information about machine learning. Sources here, like as you can see, ChatGPT does provide its sources, but I think from my personal perspective, I think it looks a little bit nicer in Perplexity. So as you can see, it's 11 sources here, and then here's all. But this is also, keep in mind, using it's using academic search. So this is just limited to academic papers. So off the rip, you can see that it's a little bit more accurate when you're doing your research, whereas here it's just providing resources that's available online in your standard Google places, like, or whatever the case is. Like, it is using some research or academic papers, but not as good as Perplexity. So again, as you can see, types of machine learning, I think overall it provides a way more in-depth answer as well. So I literally said, tell me about machine learning, answer machine learning, whatever is here, core concepts, goes to key algorithms and techniques, applications in fields, challenges and considerations, future direction. So as you can see, it's already way more advanced to here. Whereas here, we kind of talk about the types, the applications, and how machine learning works, but nowhere near as in detail as Perplexities, which is also quite interesting. Like, you can, and on top of that, in Perplexity, you have follow-up questions, you have follow-up questions that you could ask as well here, which is similar to how maybe, which is something that ChatGPT doesn't have at the moment, or I know it did at the start. It had some suggestions, but it didn't have like related section here, which I think is quite cool, Let's go back into home again, and we'll write a new one. Let's ask it something about suggest nice restaurants in Galway. Now let's ask something in real time as well, where we would compare like the location side of things of how it retrieves the information from different sources. So let's do something like, let's suggest some nice restaurants in Galway, and don't mind my spelling of restaurants. I know it's not great. So we'll do like, no, we won't use the Pro version for this, just to see what it's like, the standard version of it. So yes, as you can see, I don't know why it's not showing now, but it did provide a map before. I tested out this particular prompt before, but it did provide a map in Perplexity, but sometimes it doesn't. As you can see, the map in ChatGPT search is quite nice. It has the map as well as the actual location here. So I think that's quite a nice feature that you can do. So sources, again, using various best trips in Galway, best restaurants in Galway, different parts and pieces here as well. So I think that's quite cool. It has the location of them and the actual map as well. Whereas Perplexity, for example, is good in terms of also providing the exact rating, the cuisine, the address, the phone, pulls up all of the information here, but it doesn't use something like this. And to be fair, this is not the Pro version, not the Pro search version again, but just a standard version that's free, but it's still relatively good, As you can see, it gave you the list of the best ones. It has its own sources as well here, which is quite cool. Sorry, I'm a bit limited in what I can show with the two screens, but as you can see, it has its own sources here, and again, different restaurants as well. The good thing about Perplexity, I would say, is that it also uses social media channels. It doesn't just look up different websites on Google or wherever the case is coming from. It uses stuff like Facebook groups. It can use Reddit. It uses different sources of information where people would talk about it, like forums, which is a little bit more, I would say, more accurate when it comes to providing answers, but it doesn't look as nice as ChatGPT's interface. But that is understandable because ChatGPT is built with creativity and generation in mind, you know. So I will let you guys decide. I think that if you're looking for information, Perplexity is slightly more better, but ChatGPT looks nicer, you know. Let's do a new one. We'll do another one. We'll use Pro Search for this one. So we'll use Pro Search. Let's ask it, what are the traffic conditions in Galway right now? Okay. So we'll do that for both. Let's put it here. Boom, boom. Again, it will scan the web as of 7:40 here. Okay. As of 7.4 or 4 past 7 on Monday, November the 4th, 2024. There are no major traffic accidents reported. However, evening traffic can be heavy, especially on main routes such as N6 and 17. For more information, consider using real-time traffic services like Google Maps or this, whatever this is. Comparison to Perplexity's Pro Search, I think it's they give kind of similar answers. So they both said this one and Google change rapidly, whatever the case is. You know, they both provided the same information. The Pro version used a bit more detail, has a bit more sources, so, or maybe not as many sources, but yeah, they both used ChatGPT in this case actually used more sources, but still the answer is quite similar in both instances. So I'll let you guys decide again what ones you think is better. I think for ease of use, ChatGPT kind of takes it here, whereas here it's just in Perplexity, it just wants to give you more answers because you are using the Pro version of things. Let's maybe do, we have only, I think, 2 left, is it? Yeah. So let's do let's do a programming question. So let's ask it a semi kind of technical question. We'll say, explain JavaScript to us, okay, because we are programmers, aren't we? So yeah, explain JavaScript, put it in here, put it in here. Again, don't mind my spelling, it's quite shit, but it's quite bad, so let's just take it from here. Again, I'm not using the focus search, which is in academic papers, but the standard kind of capabilities within just the general knowledge of Perplexity. So as you can see, again, it goes into a bit more detail in Perplexity, and I think, and too many ands. So yeah, it goes in a bit more detail in Perplexity, which is quite understandable because it is built with research in mind, as I mentioned before. Again, it goes to the core characteristics, key features, capabilities, common use cases in web development, getting started, and so on and so forth. Whereas it speaks for itself. I think it speaks for itself. So again, in ChatGPT, it's nowhere near as detailed here. But on the flip side of that, I think ChatGPT, in my personal opinion, provides more easier to understand answers, whereas it's kind of more to the point as opposed to Perplexity, where it's still easy to understand, but it breaks down to more details, so it's giving you a lot more information to process, which is might not something that a lot of people would be interested in when it comes to just wanting quick understandings of certain things. So yeah, I think as you can see both here, it's quite interesting to see the two of them working together. I'm curious to see what you guys think between the two, so let me know in the comments down below what you guys think of how these two are comparing right now. I still think that it's really early days for SearchGPT. Like, Perplexity's been around for a while, and it's, as you can see, it's been it provides better results. Maybe down the line, SearchGPT will improve over iterations, and will be more adaptive, similar to how Perplexity works. But as of right now, in my personal opinion, I think Perplexity is still the better researcher tool. Let's quickly dive into how it compares to Google. Now, in my last video, again, I talk about that traditional search engines, I think, are still always going to be there, no matter what you do, simply because of two things, especially Google. The first one being that ease of concise answers. Think about it. What was the last thing you searched in Google? So even if we're going back to the example with the restaurants, you might have searched on Google saying, okay, top near restaurants near me. It'll give you like 1, 2, 3, 4 really quickly. Whereas here, it's giving you more in detail answers, which is, and it takes a bit of time to even compute them. Whereas Google is just straight there and quick. Even if you're, even think about it, like what are you usually searching in Google? Can I get what's things that are open near me? What's the closest thing to me? All of those things, and you're giving straight to the point, concise answers. Whereas ChatGPT and Perplexity kind of lack in. Okay, it's not as concise. It's not as quick. It does provide a lot of information, yes, and then provides in detail an understanding of what you're asking for. But it's not quick and concise. It doesn't have that almost rapid rate or rapidness to it, you know, which is something that will not make Google obsolete, in my opinion. On top of that, Google has been around for over 20 years. ChatGPT does get an impressive amount of visitors per, I think it's per month. I think it's like 3 billion, if I'm not mistaken. Whereas Google gets like 82 billion or 80 billion per month. Simply just because of the sheer volume of how big Google is, it won't, not nowhere near in the future will it replace it, the search engine. It's a good start in the right direction of how we can use AI to search for things, but I still think that Google will remain de facto for a long period of time. Now, unless ChatGPT comes out with its own web browser, then we might be looking at different things. But yeah, so I don't think that ChatGPT will take over Google. I don't think Perplexity will take over Google either, but it's interesting to see how it works. Now, that doesn't mean that Google will just sit around and do nothing. Obviously not. They have their own AI agents coming out. They have already Gemini, which is quite good. If you want me to do a video, again, as I mentioned in my last video, if you want me to do a video comparing Gemini, ChatGPT, Perplexity, Claude, some of the other stuff that are out there, I will do a comparison video. Just let me know in the comments. But for now, I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know what you think of the Search GPT. Did you mess around with it? How do you think it compares to Perplexity if you use both? And yeah, I will see you in the next video. Bye.